says we're going live. It says we're going live. It says we're live.
We're what?
I don't know if we're live. But I know that we're here, so we're going to go with it. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is our weekly live stream while we record our audio podcast, available on all podcast apps every Friday. We are here 4 minutes early, so if you arrive after the stream, but before I put in timestamps and you don't like idle chit-chat, you should fast forward by 4 or 5 minutes. If you're here for the live and you don't like idle chit chat, you're new here, I think. And you've got time to go do what you need to do. We are here. Yay! Did I get the spiel right?
Yeah.
I think I did.
I guess you did.
Once we tell you why that would even be a question, you'll go, oh, wow, you did get that spiel right. Yay. Okay, so we'll say hi to folks. Hi, Missy.
Okay.
Hi, JB. Hi, Tayshu. Hi, Mr. Spock. Hi, Silent Wing. Hi, Georgia Little. Hi, Candace. Hi, you don't. Hi, Path Girl. Hi, Kylie. Hello.
Hi, folks.
I knew that was coming.
No, you didn't.
So, for the second week in a row, no links for our shirts, but we are wearing things that definitely mirror our personality. This was the shirt I talked about last week, in last week's live stream, that I also got from the Rural King. I can't say that word. It says, I came, I saw, I forgot what I was doing. That's become a lot more common over the past couple of years. I don't know. Yours says, I turn wood into things. What's your superpower?
Yep.
And we think I got that for you off of Etsy.
Well, I know you got it for me.
Right, but I think I got it off of Etsy. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Hi, Rara. Hi, Shelby. Hi, Mel. And I'm so sorry, Georgia Little. That sucks. That sucks so much. Let's see. Rural King. If they have any more left, because like I said, when I was checking out to buy this shirt a couple weeks ago, the cashier working the register stopped what she was doing and shouted to several people. It was very popular. Might be on their website. I don't know. So, you know, Silent Wing, I would be okay with that petition. I don't know why I struggle with the word rural. When I hear it back, after last week's episode, it sounds to me like I might be saying it correctly, but it's like I have cotton in my mouth. I just can't. I can't. So, hi, Mally. What else? I'm saving the thing that's
the best for last.
I'm saving that for the announcement.
Yeah.
At the top of the podcast. So it's fine. Oh, spoiler for YouTube Live folks. COVID has arrived.
Come knocking at our door.
Yeah. So we're fine. We really are fine. We wouldn't be doing this if we weren't. But yeah, I'll complain about that later when the podcast audience is with us. It's fine. So anything else you got for the butt rub? You're a little low energy.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, and so I'll take a lackadaisical butt rub. It's okay. I'm just glad you're here.
I know.
I mean, I was prepared when I woke up for your nap for you to go, it's not fucking happening. I was prepared for it. It's fine. So, I'm pretty sure I can say oral, but no, not rural. That would be worse. Silent Winged. Rural? No. Happy to say oral, though.
Well, I think Silent Wing has the right idea. You know, it's like, oral. I thought it was Carl. I can't see across.
And you don't have your thing
I don't
up,
have
so
my
you
thing
can
up
see
yet,
the chat. Yeah. Well, why don't you do that? It's exactly noon.
Okay.
So,
I guess it's time.
Well, yeah, it's officially time. So,
Okay.
the topic for this week is about joy, the feeling of joy. Whether that's important, I think it is personally, but we'll find out how JB feels about it. What that means to you, all that good stuff. If it means anything to anybody, it's fine. Feels like a weird topic, but when I came up with the idea for it, coming up with the idea to talk about joy in DS filled me with joy. So we went with it.
There is no joy to be had.
Okay, Eeyore. Jeez. Anyway, that's the topic. If you enjoy whatever this is while you're here, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And once you subscribe, ring that bell so you get updates of new content.
Sure. Just do what Daddy says, especially when he's sick. Just do what Daddy says when he's sick. And if you like this and a lot, and can afford to do so and want extra content and access and stuff you can't get anywhere else, you can join us on Patreon. It's little as $2 a month. Stay as long as you'd like. It's kind of fun. Link in the description box. It's always in the description box. I think that's it. Oh, there's still an ad. Okay.
Ranger ad, no less.
No links to the shirts, but they're fun shirts, and mine is very comfy, and I'm very happy with it. Okay, then I think we're ready for you to hit the magic button.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to try and be gentle on you this week.
Yeah, you
try
real hard. To walk me through here.
I know. It's okay. Okay, so before we get into our topic this week, some announcements, some stuff, some things to share. First off, the Rona has arrived to our address. So far, the only one who's tested positive has been the 16-year-old. He's the carrier. He's the one that brought it in, I'm convinced. He and I were the only two that at any point have had a fever. Right. I have a negative COVID test, but I'm going to test again probably tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You and I have symptoms, right? Mild-ish symptoms, like a cold. Would you say that? I don't want to speak for you because you look miserable.
Well, this morning I woke up with a headache, body aches, and a sore throat.
Yes, I've just had a sore throat and just been super tired. We're here because we want to be. Mm-hmm. JB could have vetoed this. Don't anybody give me crap for, quote, making him do anything.
Yeah, no, she had nothing to do with that. I woke up this morning, had my coffee, played several games of solitaire, and then migrated to the couch and immediately fell back to sleep.
And when you're done here, you'll migrate back. And that's cool. And I'm keeping my workload light, but we're here. But yes, 2 years, 4 months, we kept it at bay. It's arrived. We're vaxxed and boosted. It seems very mild. We're fine. Yeah. But if our energy is off, I felt like we should start at the top and go. Next thing, there were new products added to the Loving BDSM Etsy shop last week. Yeah. I'm creating other completely new products that are different things, but if you are a submissive who likes to plan either with a paper, printed paper, or digitally, and wants to try and keep track of habits you're changing and your tasks and notes to remember to talk to your dom about, blah, 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 that is on our Etsy shop. And we have several themes right now with more planned to be added. Not this week, apparently. I will not be working on that. But yeah, the Loving BDSM Etsy shop link is in the places. So on YouTube, description box, podcast listeners, show notes. I also include it, or will include it, in our weekly newsletter, so if you need help getting to it there. And then the next thing is we are doing restocks on your shop, The Kinkery.
Yes.
I just added a whole bunch of brand new Holy Terrors to the site, and there's just constant restocks right now. So
I handed you a big old sheet of stuff
you made me work.
to update inventory.
And that's at thekinkery.com if you are interested in weapons of ass destruction. We're just putting it out there that we do these other things, and if anybody's interested, go forth. If you're not interested or you don't have cash, totally get it. That's why we're here. That's why we do this thing that we do. So, and I almost forgot another one. I recently was interviewed for another podcast, Two Hot Wives. We talked about restraints and bondage and BDSM, and it was a really fun conversation. As of the day of recording, July 6th, that podcast episode is out. So it's Two Hot Wives, whatever your podcast app of choices, the number 2, and then Hot Wives. They do have a website, twohotwives.com. Podcast listeners, I'll link that for you in the show notes. I was going to link to it in the YouTube description box, and then I'm scared because I don't know what they consider that's not okay. And so I was like,
Yeah.
So the number 2, Two Hot Wives.
You can put the link in the show notes on our site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will. So yeah, they were fun to talk to. It was a fun conversation. I did not give bondage tips. Y'all know I am not the bondage expert, but we talked about the concept of it and of being restrained and, you know, the different ways to play. And it was fun. And we talked about communication. And it was fun. I
listened to a couple episodes of their podcast.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. I like their energy together.
They are. Yeah, they're good. And they apparently it's a let's have a drink and have a conversation kind of deal. And so for this week they posted, I saw it on Twitter, it might be elsewhere as well, a drink recipe that made me go, I would like to try that. That sounds delicious. So okay. Let's actually get into the topic now. Okay. So Joy, I remember us having a conversation for an episode. I don't know how many weeks ago. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks. It could have been like late 2021. And I have a vague memory of saying, if you don't feel some level of joy at what you're doing, why are we doing it? And that's when I knew I wanted to talk about joy. So let's talk about what it means. I looked up actual definitions because I feel like it's one of those nebulous words that kind of means whatever you need it to mean. So the internet tells me that one common definition is a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. I think that makes sense to most of us. And then I can't remember if it was Merriam. I think it was Merriam-Webster. That their definition, it might have been the Oxford, whatever, but I think it was Merriam-Webster, says an emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune, or by the prospect of possessing what one desires, delight. My kinky heart loves the prospect of possessing what one desires. Delight, I would say, is the definition of that one that I like the best. An emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune is... I think however you define the term joy, what it means to you it's a personal thing. But when I'm like, joy is not, when things are going well or I'm feeling successful or we've had good fortune, joy is not the word I would describe. I'd say I'm happy. I'd say I'm content. I'm excited. But joy just doesn't seem like the right word to me. But that's okay. It's just a definition. What does joy mean to you? Like, how would you define it?
I think it's a burst of happiness.
Yeah, to me, it's like a bubbling up of happiness. Like, there's yay, I'm excited, yay, this is great. And then there's this sort of effusive, nebulous, it's like it's going to burst out. It's like and for me, it's a bubbling up. It's like, it's where I just start smiling for no, air quote, no reason, giggling, just elated. It's such a good feeling. It's such a good feeling. I like joy. I do want to say that, like every positive emotion that any human could experience, I don't think it's a good thing to expect it to happen. I think you should have some expectation of, I am happy with this person in my life. I'm happy with this moment in my life. It'd be nice to feel joy. But I think that it's one of yet another positive emotion that when somebody does not feel it when they, air quote, think they should feel it, then they wonder what's wrong with them. They feel guilty. They think they've done something wrong. I think emotions they're ephemeral. They're not things that we can always chase. And when we try to chase emotions, we often find that we're then dissatisfied when we think we've caught them. And, feeling good for this moment does not mean you will always feel that good. And so to me, it's a little bit hard to talk about specific emotions that are not the be mindful of this or, oh, are you feeling this negative thing? So maybe it's the people in your life, maybe it's brain chemistry, maybe it's stuff you've dealt with. The positive side, we all want to feel positive things, But I think we are most often disappointed by the fact that we cannot just always make ourselves feel positive things. And instead of going, oh, that's right, I can't control every aspect of everything, including when I will feel something good, we, instead of being reminded of that or thinking of that, we go, oh, there's clearly something wrong with me, because shouldn't I feel happy right now? Shouldn't I feel joyful right now? Why am I not feeling good about this positive thing in my life? So when we talk about this, I don't want there to be this thought that anybody on this side of the street is saying that you should feel this way or you will always feel this way. For me, the thing I like about what feels like joy to me when it happens is that it almost comes out of nowhere, and I know that it's fleeting, and I know that feeling is not going to stick around forever or for very long, but it's always such a good feeling to have a memory of, that I can almost feel a little bit of like secondary joy thinking of moments that brought me joy, even if I'm in like the depths of like some crappy things going on. So yeah, I just kind of want to put that out there. So let's talk about things that bring us joy, how the way we individually think of what's joyful in Power Exchange. What are things that bring you joy?
One of the things that does it for me is when I bring you a treat like a Diet Coke and I see that happy squeal, more so than that, I think it is when I see you pushing a boundary and achieving something. That brings me joy. I say in a low-key monotone.
I know. I know. We're talking about something that should be, something that we should be joyful in talking about while we're talking about it. It's like, actually, let me tell you about how I feel about this thing. Which is a further proof that there's no binary to emotions and how we feel them and how we express them and when we feel them. The joyful times I've had in Power Exchange, my memory is for shit, y'all. So do I remember the specifics of the moment? No. But the moments I remember, a lot of them have been scene related. So the first, and probably the second, but definitely the first time your daddy side and my baby girl side manifested within a scene, which is,
yes,
we always enjoy our scenes. I mean, thankfully we've not had bad ones, or it's been a while since we had bad ones, so we typically enjoy our scenes. They're very cathartic. They feel very good. There's a lot of positive emotions, but we tend to be kind of serious. And I don't mean serious like grim. I mean like it's very much the Power Exchange of you're the sadist and I'm the masochist, and it tends to have sort of more serious undertones. And when we started being playful in our scenes, where yes, you were still the sadist and I was definitely still the masochist, but you were a sadistic daddy who had that gleam in your eye, and I was pouting and sticking my tongue out at you and stomping my feet and also giggling. That sort of cracked something open within me where I went, oh, that's right. Just as in our everyday life, all of the sides of ourselves can merge at once.
Yeah.
So too can it happen in a scene. And it made the scene better. I was vaguely aware of feeling joyful in the scene, but I was so focused on the scene, I was mostly aware of the things you were doing, and they were delightful. Post scene, when we're sort of coming down from it, that joyous feeling was still there. I felt giddy. It was almost, I would not call it subspace, because I was definitely still completely within myself, could still move, could still walk and talk, but I felt, it's gonna sound as woo-woo as I probably get, I felt like I was just sort of on another plane of existence. I felt like I was in it was a different headspace. I was excited and giddy and happy and giggly beyond the scene because we had that experience. It was another point of connection. We're all about the literal exchange of energy and vibes in our scenes. That's part of what makes a scene good for us, I think, regardless of the activity. And that energy exchange continued outside of the scene, beyond it, because I'd come to this realization that, wow, we could be super playful and it's still a really good scene and we still get exactly what we want from it, whatever that might be. Just thinking about it now, I get like this feel. See, when I think of joy beyond contentment, beyond happiness, beyond whatever, it's like this bubbling in my stomach that's not indigestion. That's a different feeling, and I know that one very well. And it just sort of wants to burst forth. Like I know I grin like a dumbass. I know this moon face is all shiny because I just can't stop smiling. I would say sometimes I experience joy in our power exchange by looking back, like not in the moment, but in thinking about our relationship. There are times I think just about how much, okay, we're going to get sappy and we're going to be cute for a second. Sorry. I think about how happy I am to have you in my life, how fortunate I am, how lucky I am that you're my daddy dom, and the way you take care of me. And I can make myself cry tears of happiness with that joyful feeling. Do I look like a crazy person? Sure, of course. We're talking about joy and it's all happy, good feelings. I'm an anxious girl with an anxious brain. I can go from joy to terror and sadness in about half a second.
0 to 60.
Oh yeah, because I can be thinking, and this sucks. I'm really gonna have to do something about this because it's happening a lot. But I can be thinking about how much I love you and how grateful I am to have you in my life and how good our relationship is, even when things are going to shit. And I can feel that joyful feeling, that bubbling up, that effervescent like glee. And in the next moment, my brain will go, and someday it will all be over. And then I'm just sobbing. And I don't mean like a breakup. I mean like time, the sands of time will pass through the hourglass. And at some point, it's why I say we're going out of this life like Thelma and Louise. Because but my brain can go there and it will just rob me of joy, like immediately. Hashtag anxious girl problems. I don't know. I just oh gosh. And I think I don't know how other people with any mental health issue feel about things or handle things. I just know from my experience with anxiety that your brain will steal your joy in a fucking heartbeat. You know, I remember when you and I were first getting together and I was so happy and everything felt so right. And I couldn't enjoy that rightness, that feeling of rightness, because my brain would go, and this was early days before you and I were really like strongly established. I was like, he's going to break up with you. He's going to leave. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. This won't last. This isn't real. And I know part of that was bad tapes and past relationships. I also know a lot of that's anxiety. Thanks. Yeah. And I also know that I'm the type of person who has spent, because I know I'm an eternal optimist. I know that I tend to look at things through the hope filled rose-colored glasses. Like, I want things to work out, and if I just believe hard enough and am stubborn enough, they will, right? And I know that that's not always a great thing. Like, you can really set yourself up for some serious disappointment if you can't be realistic and pragmatic. So what I did years ago for myself was every time I felt super, super hopeful, I allowed myself the hopeful and now joyful, because this is bringing this back to this, that feeling. And then I was like, and my brain would go, but don't forget, you're trying to be more realistic. So I would remind myself of reality. And we are at a point in our lives and at ages where we are witnessing people we know pass away, because not because of necessarily of tragedy, but because this part of life that's when people older than you are like passing away. And so the reality that everybody dies is now my pragmatic thought when I'm feeling overly joyful.
Oh my God.
Optimistic. It's the anxious brain should not be in charge of pragmatic thoughts. That's what I'm saying about that.
And here I thought it was going to be things, how it changed. Your joy was replaced with, oh my God, the way he chews at the table across from me, the way he snores, the way...
That does not rob my joy. Does it make me grind my teeth? Yes. And I think that's the thing about any positive feeling we have, whatever word we use, whether joy or not, whether you just say happy, whatever word or however you define it for yourself. I can be completely joyful about our relationship, grateful that we are together, completely content with the life that we are creating and have created for ourselves, and can absolutely go, oh my God, he chews so loud, he's got to stop. Or I can go, oh my God, where did all these beard hairs on the sink come from? Like, absolutely. And I think that is a thing that sometimes we forget. We think that if we feel a good feeling about a person or a situation, that somehow we're just never going to feel a negative thing, or that I can be joyous in my partnership with you and still be annoyed at things. Just like you were annoyed. I mean, this is not one-sided. I am just It's not that I'm the ultimate bitch who's like, let me tear the most decent human being apart right here on a podcast. It's not, we each have things that we do that, of course, that's human nature.
We're only human, yeah.
Right. And I think at certain points in life and after a certain either number of relationships or at least one healthy long-term relationship, I think we all sort of understand this. But I have noticed in just conversations I've had with people or the way things get talked about sometimes is that power exchange, DS, is somehow set on another level where reality is not supposed to seep in. It's the same thing about how supposedly, air quote, all of this, submissives aren't supposed to be angry at their dominance. Well, the fuck, hell yeah, you're gonna get pissed off. It's gonna happen because you don't stop being human just because you've negotiated this power exchange relationship. And whatever you might define for yourself as perfection, air quote that word real hard, whatever that means, it can't survive reality. So yes, maybe in early days you're blissful in your power exchange. But that doesn't mean that you won't kind of come down a bit more into reality, settle into sort of grooves, and that the partners involved somehow stopped being human and stopped having foibles that will sometimes annoy us or grate on our nerves or anger us or whatever.
Well, the thing is, joy, happiness, sadness, anger, they're all emotions. You don't experience, how do I say, one emotion does not take precedent over the other,
right?
So to speak. You feel emotions, whatever are in the moment. I would hope in any relationship, whether it's DS or not, that there are some feelings of joy.
Absolutely.
So, and it's not something that you experience 24/7 because there's going to be other emotions involved in there.
It's one of those things that I think every emotion you're capable of experiencing, they're all hanging out inside. Brain, body, whatever. I don't know. Not a scientist. They're all there. They're all capable of being pulled upon or coming forth depending on the moment. But yeah, nothing. Tayshu said it in the live chat. It's not an on-off switch.
Right.
Now, are there times, whether due to, maybe depression, maybe chronic illness or disability, or death of a loved one, or whatever, where the positive emotions feel like they have vanished and you're like, I don't know when these feelings will ever come back? Of course. And that's valid too. But just like we can be at some of our lowest moments, and some of us, not all of us, but you and I are these people, we'll still crack a joke. Like, it can be the worst moment of our lives, and something will flitter across, and our ironic sense of humor, or our snark, will come out. And while I might not call that ability to laugh at a probably a joke you wouldn't say in front of your mom kind of deal, while I might not call that joy, it is that ability to find humor, to feel that feeling of humor or whatever, even is sort of an example that those emotions do not go away forever. They can feel that way. But if the bad emotions don't last forever, then we just have to remember the good emotions don't last forever. And just as the good can simmer up through really dark, hard moments in life, the hard, dark feelings can bubble up in moments of joy. And I know for me, it's taken me a long, long, long time to get to a point where this is the benefit of having that pragmatic voice. That voice should not be in charge during anxious moments, but that's different. Because that pragmatic voice taught me to say in the middle of something great, oh, this bad thing happened, but it's not the end of the world. It does not negate the good. It does not negate the joy necessarily. Now, is it more complicated? Let's say, not us, because I'm not jinxing us like that, but a relationship that's had really, really good positive moments. There were moments of joy that you can think back in your memory and go, that was a joyous occasion. That the relationship then ends terribly. The person is toxic. There's, bad behavior, whatever, or it was just a really bad breakup. I'm not going to say that if you were that person, you have to feel the joy in those memories. I think bittersweet is how some people might feel it. I also think it's perfectly acceptable to be able to, in your mind, go, that relationship ended horribly. But there was that moment. There were these moments that felt so good. And to reconcile for yourself on an individual level, do you still feel that sense of joy, or even if it's muted, that happiness in the memory, or do you reject it and go, it's tainted now? And there's no right or wrong answer. And it's not a binary choice. There's lots of options in between those two. I also want to talk about joy, that feeling of joy, however you would describe it for yourself, and sub-frenzy. And new relationship energy. New relationship energy, I think, is, whether you would use the word joy or not, I think it's a flavor of joy. Everything feels good. Every air quote, everything is going right. This partner is amazing. I'm getting to dominate in the way I want to dominate. I'm getting to submit in the way I want to submit. I'm getting to get my kink on, and this person, and it's new, and it's fun, and it's exciting. And I think joy would be a good way to
describe that. Yeah.
Which I can then understand the letdown if you're not used to the idea of new relationship energy. And when you sort of even out and the things that were new and exciting become the, boring and mundane, or the annoying, right? If their chewing was cute to you on day one, let me hear from you on day 750. Is it still cute, or is it now an annoyance? It's fine. There's no right answer.
Yeah.
So new relationship energy, I definitely equate with joy.
Sure.
Sub-frenzy, though, I think it could be mistaken for joy, and I'm not sure. Everybody's different, and so some people would not agree with this, but and here's why. Not always, not everybody, caveat, caveat, caveat. But sub-frenzy tends to come tinged with a little bit of anxiousness or fear. I'll never get to submit again. This is the only person. I have to say yes to this. What are limits? I don't have limits, even though when you're thinking rationally, you're going to go, oh, yeah, I do have limits. Not all sub-frenzy is experienced through the reasons that we warn against it. The not at all cautious behavior that can lead you into some serious situations. And I know, having gone through a level of it myself, it does on some level feel good because you're finally getting to submit and you're finally getting to have these experiences and you want more and more of it and you will seek them out in whatever way that works, blah, blah, blah. But there's something about the stereotypical version of sub-frenzy that feels frantic. And can you feel joy, unadulterated, blissful joy, while you're also feeling frantic? I'm not here to make pronouncements for all of humankind. You may be able to, but
I almost get the feel when you say that it's almost like a false joy.
Yeah, I think it's more of you're kidding yourself about some things, because I think sub-frenzy is a lot of you're not seeing necessarily things as they are, but as you
want them to be or
hope that they are.
And I think same can be said for dom frenzy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, it's a, because when you're looking at it through that kind of lens, you're looking at a lot of false expectations. You know, so the joy, air quote, joy that you're feeling could also be seen as a false joy.
Yeah, I think the false expectations is key to me on something, because going back to having a bad relationship, a relationship that ends badly, I know for me, because I've had it happen, the joy I felt in a relationship, even when it ended, once in those cases where there was lying and infidelity, or just, you know, I feel betrayed. And again, this is personal. Everybody's going to handle it differently. If I can look back and go, oh shit, I was being lied to. Oh shit, I was being, you know, I was being manipulated. It will tinge my joy, because my expectation at the time was that this was real and this was important and meaningful. And sure, the relationship ended, but it meant something at the time on some level. And if I have to look at that now through the lens of, oh wait, this was a red flag carrying card member of, you know, the Domly Dom fake posers club, or this person was lying to me about the important things, my joy gets ripped away, because now I know I was being lied to or manipulated looking back, which then, from my personal experience, feeds into trust issues. Because if I don't feel like I can trust my own experience with something because of what I learned later, how can I trust today's experience with somebody new? Yeah. Man, bad tapes will get you. They'll fuck you up every time.
They will. Yeah, they will.
They will. They will.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. Joy, I here's my frustrating thing about joy. It's, for me, it's such a good feeling. I want to chase it. I want to have more of it. I am not good at going, look at you having this good emotion, and because it's not completely rare, I'm happy, I'm content more often than I am not. Being in a healthy relationship, having a roof over my head, and doing fulfilling work will do that for you. Your mileage will always vary. But that, for me, because of the way I'm thinking of that term joy and what it means to me, and the moments that we have had together where I have felt pure joy, blissful joy, there's a temptation to chase it instead of being able to go, oh, look, I had a joyful moment and that feels really good and I'm going to savor it. I know it's not lasting forever. Hopefully I'll be able to come back to this feeling or a muted version in the memory banks. Yeah. But the chasing of it, the chasing of any, air quote, good or positive emotion.
Would you say that when you experience those times of joy, It's almost like getting a dopamine hit or the
Oh,
endorphins.
absolutely. It's a
and,
high.
Yeah, and you're like, give me more, give me more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the letdown comes. It's like almost anything we do. And this is such a weird thing to equate it to, but blame the fact that I'm a sex writer who has talked about this particular thing for many years now. And we could equate it to two things, but the one that came to my head is when you're trying, y'all, so inappropriate, squirting orgasms. Not everybody can squirt. Not everybody wants to squirt, but it's the people who want to squirt and try chasing it. Well, when you chase it, you usually can't catch it. That was the example that came to my head. And then as I was talking, I somehow remembered I was kinky, and I went, oh yeah, subspace is also. It's an experience we chase, and the harder you strive for it, quite frankly, the less likely you are to experience it. And then therefore, instead of getting the joy that you were chasing, you now have maybe frustration or concern or disappointment or whatever, not because you didn't have a good moment, but because you were chasing an experience that you thought would bring you joy, and now you have the letdown.
And I think...
because you didn't get the thing you had pictured in your mind.
I'm going to use a word you don't like.
Oh, God.
I think those moments of joy that you're talking about are one of those things you cannot chase, you cannot create. It's more of a spontaneous thing that happens.
Yes, I agree. That does not stop my impatient baby girl self. I'm going, here are the details as I remember them with my faulty memory of that moment where I felt amazing. Let's go recreate that. And it's in, here's the thing. I think you can give yourself joyful moments. I think you can put yourself in positions to where you can absolutely experience a feeling that you would equate with joy or however you describe it, but it's the chase that's the problem. So, yes, I would like to have that bubbly, blissful feeling in a scene with you. Mm-hmm. But this is where my pragmatic side is doing a good job, and she deserves a raise. My pragmatic side says the joy is not in recreating the exact experience to get the exact feeling. The joy is in being present in the experience,
in the
letting
moment.
it go the direction it will go, and appreciating the good feeling, if there is one, that occurs regardless of how similar it is or isn't to previous moments.
And that's like, using subspace is another good example of that. You hear people talk about, I hit subspace and I want to have that experience again. I want to get back. You can never recreate what happened. And I think one of the hardest things for people is to be in the moment and appreciate the moment for what it is, not for what was or what could be, but be in that moment for what it is.
It's a mindfulness thing.
Yeah.
I think that for me, as much as I would like to have a butterfly net and chase joy and catch it and then pin it to the wall, no.
Oh my God. Bloodthirsty.
I am learning as I don't know how I'm getting wiser with age, and I'm certainly getting older. I am learning that it's more powerful when that specific feeling that I call joy, that just fills me up so much, when I just let it arrive on its own time. I think there's a bit of putting yourself in circumstances where it's possible. So what I mean by that is we're going to dump the toxic partners, right? We're to the best of our ability with the access we have, we're going to try and take care of our mental and or physical health. If that's a thing that makes it harder to feel anything, good, bad, or otherwise. I'm going to try and be present when I am with you, because what I've learned, again, over time and through experience, is that the most joyful moments are so unplanned for. You could not have scripted it. It just, it happened. It was the stupid joke that I can think of a few times we have been silly, just laying in bed, trying to
Oh,
go
yeah.
to sleep. You are definitely at your daddiest, and I am definitely at my most baby girl.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll crack a stupid ass joke, and you might not even laugh. You might look at me in that way you have when you
Kind
were
of raise the eyebrow.
very
and-
perplexed by
yeah.
what the fuck I'm doing. And I'll start laughing so hard I cry. I'm wheezing and crying and snorting and cannot breathe. And it's almost painful. And that's a joyful feeling. And then I'll tell that pragmatic, anxious bitch in my head to shut the fuck up. I don't need to be reminded of mortality at this moment. Thanks. And it's not, I can never chase that. I can never know if I'm going to say something ridiculous that's going to make me do that. But I can be present in the moment with you. I can, to the best of our abilities, protect the sanctity of, wait, as often as possible at night when we're in bed, let's have these quiet moments because we don't know what will come of them.
Right.
Sometimes joyous moments come, sometimes very serious moments come, and sometimes we just fucking go to sleep and it's delightful. Let's be real. So I think that feeling any positive emotion, but certainly the way I'm thinking of joy, you might have another word for it, that feeling, or you may think of joy in a different way. It's tied in some ways to mindfulness,
Yeah.
to just being present in the moment. I also am definitely a fan of whether it's sardonic humor or it's that cynical and snarky and sarcastic kind of thing. I also think that, if you can find even a blip, even a moment, even a half second of it, cut the tension. I don't know if I would use the word joy, but joy, happiness, pleasure in a deep, dark moment. Woo, cultivate that skill, my friend, because I know personally that ability has gotten me through some really hard times. There was no joy. I was not feeling joy in any of those moments, but it's a tension cutter at that point. And it's a positive emotion, whatever it might be, even if it's just for like that nanosecond where you were like, that's right, I remember this part of my humanity as well. I remember that I can laugh. I remember that I can, joke. I remember that it's not all of whatever the negative is. And at the same time, there's no matter how good it is, no matter how great it is, the not good will find a way. It's just the nature of things. None of it's permanent, even though I would like the joy to be permanent. But then, you know what makes the joy and that feeling and that good feeling so powerful is that it's not an everyday thing. It's not commonplace. If it was commonplace, we would take it for granted. The same way that I think we can take contentment, which I do not define in the same way as happiness, but some people might. We absolutely can take that for granted. I am content with you, not resting on my laurels. I don't have to work for it anymore.
Right.
But that even through all the insanity we've faced, even through all the stress, even through the bad times, this is exactly where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have that any other way. That's contentment for me. There are probably other words I could find to use, but that's a little bit of how I define it. And so joy is the firework. It's the sparkler. The contentment is, if I'm striving for anything, it's that.
Now, as a service submissive, do you find joy in performing tasks?
Sometimes. That's another thing I would say that is a misconception, that regardless of where you're at, what side of the slash, the things that you do that become commonplace, you are not required to be filled with joy every moment that you're doing them. There are times, something about making your coffee or doing a thing that you didn't even expect me to do, but I knew you needed it to be done, and so I did it and surprised you with it. Those fill me with, I feel peace and I feel happiness. I feel of service, and that feels good. But those are few and far between. For, in the case of our relationship, with the tasks that I do, the making of the coffee, the making of the bed, the turning down of the bed, the doing this, the doing that, they're part of my routine. And I know why I do them. There's intentionality behind it. But are there times I would rather just sit on the couch? Yeah. Are there times when I'm like, oh shit, I have to wake up and go make his iced coffee, but what I'd rather do is lay here in the bed? Of course. Of course. No, I would say I'm a little worried for you if everything, let's say you're a service submissive, and everything you're assigned to do, you dread. Or if you do a thing you dread and you've been dreading it for weeks, months, years, and you've never said anything, that's not good. We should, we do these things because we want to do them. We find value in them on some level. They have some meaning, whatever. But we should not detest them with our whole mind, body, and spirit every moment of every day. Mm-hmm. If that is happening, please have a conversation with your partner and see if you can renegotiate and figure some shit out. But on the flip side, if you, fellow service submissive, are not ecstatically joyful every time you do that very mundane thing that you have done every single day for how long that we've been together, that's okay too. Yeah. Like, I think if you never think about why you do a thing and connect to the why, for me, that's the thing. It's not joyful. It's that I connect to the why. This takes care of my daddy, and I like taking care of my daddy. This makes my daddy happy, and I like making my daddy happy. Being able to connect to that intentionality means I don't need joy. Now, early days, when I had finally we had worked it out and I knew exactly what I was supposed to do, and I could do all of them, and they did not overwhelm me anymore. Mm-hmm. The early days when we moved in together, I don't know if I would use the word joy, but I was happy. I was definitely happy because at that moment I realized I was living my service submissive life in a way that I had kind of envisioned it, and it was reality, and that made it joyful.
Okay.
But after all these years, I mean, if I start getting ecstatic and skipping into the kitchen going, it's time to set up the coffee pot, you should have me tested because something's going on. Okay? Or check to see if I'm inebriated, because...
What have you been drinking and why haven't you shared with me?
Right, exactly. But I do think that some kinksters do themselves a disservice by somehow thinking that because they choose to serve or they choose to submit, that they're supposed to absolutely love every moment of what that looks like. If you do, great. I think that's wonderful. But I personally don't think that's sustainable. I think that the reality is it's going to ebb and flow. There are going to be times when the last word you would use to describe that is joyful. And that's okay. Yeah. It's when those negative feelings or perceptions about something persist that it's like, okay, now it's time for a conversation. Something's a little off. We need to readjust.
I mean, as much as I love what I do in my shop, and most days I look forward to going out there, and it fills me with happiness and with joy with the things that I make and can do with the tools that I have. There are days I have to go out there again. I have to do this again.
We are not people who talk about work in an advice thing, but that is the thing, because we're on the topic, that annoys the fuck out of me about the follow your passion thing. I do think for some people, finding, creating, building a career path that centers around something you are passionate about, that you care deeply about, can be meaningful. I'm doing it right now, so it'd be really weird if I went, no, I don't think that's important. Okay, because, for some of us it works. But what happens is that we are then sold this bill of goods, this bullshit, that if we don't love every moment of it, it's clearly not really our passion, or why are you doing this if you don't love it? Well, fuck that. Nobody loves every moment of every day of everything that they enjoy on some level. That is why when we talk about power exchange, we have to talk about the fact that you're totally going to disagree. You're totally going to get into arguments. You're totally going to want to pinch the fucking head of your partner sometimes and tell them, shut up. You might not do it. Okay? And if you're a good submissive baby girl, you definitely won't do it. But you might think it. Because just because it's something we really want or we really find fulfilling, work, relationship does not matter. It's bullshit that we are going to be happy with it every moment of every day. I love the work we do. I love the podcast. I love having these conversations. But I also, sometimes I'm like, fuck, we got to do that again this week?
Yeah, we do.
And sometimes sometimes the answer is you suck it up and go do it because you recognize this is a momentary blip of, oh, I'm just not feeling it. And sometimes it means you go, oh, we need to recalibrate. We need to talk about things. We need to change something. Something needs to shift so that I can continue to want to be in this power exchange, or I can continue to want to be in this career, or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's mythos and stereotype and cliche built around every single concept that humanity has some commonality with other people with. Feeling good feelings, good emotions, joy in this case is absolutely one of them.
Yeah. Yep. True.
Yep.
True.
I'm sure there are other things that could be said, but I have run out of those things. Anything you would like to add?
I think
I like to have a moral to the story.
okay.
I would say, here's what I would say. Power exchange especially, or just your kink life.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot remember the last time you felt any level of joy with yourself, with the activity, with the partner, do a little bit of introspection if you don't know why. Is it problems with the partner? Is it life stress just getting you down? Is it, illness and things going on in your head, mind, body, whatever? If you're not aware of it, if you can't remember the last time you felt joy, what do you need to maybe get you back to where you're capable of feeling joy?
Yeah.
If you are a joy chaser, I beg you to stop. Adrenaline chaser, sure. Trying to do things that are fun and make you happy, great. But however you define that sort of burst of joy, I think you're setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment if you're chasing after it.
Yeah.
And if you're a little bit like me and you're like, I feel joy, but I don't feel it often enough. Yeah, I think that's the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I work on and I continue to work on is being as present and in the moment as I possibly can the moment I realize I'm having that feeling, because I know that it is fleeting. I know that it won't last. It's gonna drift away.
Mm-hmm.
Not to anything negative, but just that burst is gonna simmer the fuck down, because that's what it does. And and I also think if you've never thought about what does joy mean to me and what does that mean in my power exchange, I am a huge fan of introspection. Just think about it as a thought exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, knowing the things that bring you joy, that was a pleasant surprise. I didn't realize you saw it that way. So it's also a good conversation starter. Right. So there, I've got a moral. I got a lesson.
Okay.
I got a point.
There you go.
Okay.
Point made.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, are we good?
Yeah. I will never know. But, good enough.
Okay.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Dottie.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets?
Go ahead. Talk to the crickets.
I think our windows are off because you're not able to see everything you can normally see. Yeah. We're all discombobulated over here.
Yeah.
Bonus section time. As we said at the top, the Rona's making the rounds.
Yeah.
We're fine. It just means we're kind of low energy. Lola, the best pity dog ever, is living her best life, snoozing on the love scene. The cats are living their best lives, snoozing elsewhere.
Yeah.
Onyx, I slept in this morning. I didn't even let an alarm wake me up, and I still woke up technically at 7:15. Like, what the hell? Am I finally at that age where I'm just gonna wake up at like some stupid ass time? I don't even need a damn alarm clock.
Welcome to the club.
I hate it. I want to change this club's charter, constitution, and rules. Okay, I don't like this. But Onyx jumped in the bed with me and twice, and the last time. So Onyx is very standoffish. She certainly has a personal bubble. She would prefer everybody to stay out of her personal bubble. And so by her standards, she was practically laying down and cuddling with me.
Yeah.
What I mean is she was close enough that I could feel her body heat through the blanket, but she was not actually leaning into me. And she was allowing me to continue to pet her, even though her tail was swishing super fucking hard. I was like, that's okay. You like it, but you don't like that you like it. I get it. I've been there. She and I are kindred spirits. And I know not to move, I don't move around too much. I didn't want her to bolt or anything. And I also know that not to pet her too much once the tail gets super swishy.
Yeah.
Fine. We're laying there and I'm thinking, wow, she is so close. I can literally feel her body heat. She's only an 8-pound cat. She's not a big old cat. Wow, she's close. And then you walked in and it was like I did not exist anymore. I was like, damn it, girl. Damn it.
Well, that's okay. When I finally made a decision to migrate to the sofa this morning and lay down, Onyx decided she did not want me to lay down. She wanted attention. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And every time I made a move to sit down on a spot on the sofa, she was there first. She was just all up in it. And finally, what I ended up doing was I distracted her down to one end of the sofa and just like kind of long arm petted her and quickly sat down and
yeah, it's a little bit of like the lion tamer with a chair kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't feel congested, but I keep getting a tickle in my throat. That's why I keep coughing. Sorry. I'm flinging myself away from the microphone so nobody has to have it right in their ear. So yeah. Mm-hmm. You were going strong working on stuff.
I have been
until this
doubling down on stuff out in the shop lately. Yeah. You've been amazed at seeing what I've been carrying in every day.
Yeah, and carrying out because you've been milling wood and and just stacks and stacks of wood everywhere.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm happy for it. I hate that you feel bad. I hope it stays mild.
I hope so too.
I mean, none of us are in freak out mode. We're just like we knew it would happen.
It would happen eventually. Yeah.
So here we are.
Just the nature of the thing. We dodged a bullet long enough, and hopefully, being vax and everything, it's mild and quick, hopefully. Fingers crossed, Both you and the oldest, it seemed to
hit hardest, which that's
hit hard and quick.
Yeah, that's a relative term. It's still like a mild cold to me.
Yeah. And I'm hoping the same for me. I mean, you've checked my temperature several times. I've not had a temperature, but excuse me. Throat's kind of raspy and achy and headache, but
this 16-year-old yesterday, poor thing. So I don't. This will surprise all of you, I'm sure. I don't do well with sudden information that I know changes all plans everywhere, and the positive test changed everything. So now I'm in my mind yesterday. I'm like trying to navigate. Okay, my mom's supposed to come for a visit. Well, I'm not. She can't come here because she and the evil stepdad and my aunt and uncle are all in what would be considered vulnerable groups based on age or immunocompromised, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So they will not be able to come to this house. So I'm thinking, okay, is this going to cancel my mom's trip because she's supposed to be here this weekend? Then I'm like, oh shit, what does this mean for the 16-year-old who clearly can't go to work? Then I'm thinking, oh God, I've got to go learn what the fucking CDC said. What are the guidelines? And then try to one, decipher them, and two, go, okay, but what does reality look like? Like when they were like, isolate your family member away from everybody else. I'm like, that ship sailed. We've been breathing in each other's air.
We've been breathing the same air here for,
Then, and so I was discombobulated, and I was trying to cover it and play it nonchalant. Is anybody surprised when that was, as the kid said, that was not the vibe I was giving off?
Yeah.
And finally, he got kind of cranky with me and kind of like annoyed. He was like, you're giving off this vibe like you're freaked out. I'm like, the one thing I know for a fact, I'm not freaked out by this. Pre-vaccines, I would have been freaked out. I'm not freaked out. I said, but I'm not good when a plan that I've had in my head of how things are going to go gets disrupted with no notice. I just don't function well that way. It takes me a minute. I have to recalibrate. I have to sit down and think through it and remind myself it is not the end of the world, that a plan you made will not actually occur. And then figure out a new fucking plan. But he was like, I think he was feeling like a little hurt. Like his feelings were a little hurt because it seemed like the adults were in his mind freaking out. And I finally had to go to him and go, I'm not freaking out. I'm not panicking. I do not think that you are the harbinger of doom and brought death and destruction into our house. You are still freaking petri dish. I did point out to him, I was like, you and your brother, since preschool, been just bringing shit in this house. And thankfully we can all laugh about that. So yeah, I have to do the thing I hate to do, which is play everything by ear. I don't like that. I want a plan. I want to follow a plan. I want a schedule. I want a timetable. We can't do any of that. So we're just checking temperatures.
I did tell him, I was like, the Rona is not what I wanted for my birthday.
I know. He was supposed to go, because his girlfriend was supposed to have a birthday party on Friday, and he was supposed to have gone and gotten her birthday stuff and was going to be going to the party and blah, blah, blah. I still was supposed to be making preparations for your birthday, which is next week, July 12th, or anybody wonders. I had not done that. Now I'm like, well, should I make preparations based on the date we were going to celebrate, which was your actual birthday? Yeah. Or do I sit and wait? And it's, none of it's a big deal, but it puts me off center a little bit. So I went and sat in my corner of this office and just had 3 fans going right at me, and this worked because I was like, this is my happy place. This is my happy place. This is my happy place. It's so much fun to be an anxious person, said no one ever. But yeah, so that's like the center of our world right now. Like I think so. And then Tuesday, yesterday was Tuesday, day before recording. Tuesday's when the kid tested positive for COVID. The day before, my aunt and uncle had come by for about an hour and a half, and for the first time in months, they'd actually gotten to see the 16-year-old, give him a hug, talk to him for a few minutes, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm texting my mom and my aunt, who I dub the sisters, because they are, texting the sisters to go,
Guess what?
And then at first it was all, oh gosh, how's he feeling? I'm sure everything will be fine, blah, blah, blah. And then my aunt was like, shit! We came in contact, and they are immunocompromised. They have to be very, very careful. So now they're taking tests to make sure they, didn't get it. And my mom's like, am I just gonna circle town for a few days? Am I coming at all? We're like, we don't know. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Here we go. So yeah, I'm just gonna go in the corner and work. And if I feel yucky, I'm gonna go sit down somewhere. I'm trying to be nonchalant. It's not a natural ability of mine, but I'm going for it. So, yeah. Yeah. You are, for many reasons, some of which I don't feel like talking about. I don't want to talk about stress, but you are buying your own birthday present with my blessing this year.
Yes. Because
you are getting a new vape. Podcast listeners, let me describe it. Jimmy, if you would like to show it to the camera, feel free. It was a really cool, like, the outside case is like this really cool wood design. It was wood grain. It was totally meant for you when you bought it, 3 4 years ago?
4, maybe 5 years ago.
Wow, you've kept it for a very long time.
Because I had this when we were in the condo.
Okay, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
So the top part, I don't know what any of this is called. The part you put your mouth on. It broke. It shattered.
This piece is not original to this.
So you had to change that out. And it was a tense moment when the mouthpiece thing shattered, and he was like, "Do I have something to replace this with?" And I was like, "I don't care what you have to do. I don't care if it's the middle of the night. You go find you a place that's open 24/7 that will sell you a fucking vape. We cannot live like this if you can't vape." It really is that serious. Then I thought, okay, it was that top bit, the mouthpiece part, that was the problem. You fixed it. It looks weird, but it's functional.
Yeah.
And then like a day later, I noticed that there's a severe, like, strong rubber band presence around the barrel. That cannot, meaning it literally cannot hold itself together without help.
No.
And I said then, I was like, dude, because, I'm really submissive. Dude, just go get yourself another fucking vape. We just need to buy you another vape. Like, let's just do it. And I know they're not, I don't know what it's been 4 or 5 years since you bought one. I don't know what they're priced like now, but, even with inflation, I'm like, it's not going to be cheap. And you're like, yeah, I probably should. And then everything just started happening at once. There's like sick, there's this, there's visit, it got chaotic. And I finally went, and then we looked at our own bank accounts. And I went, is it a bad birthday present if I say, here, just go pick yourself out a vape and buy yourself a new one? Make sure it's one that you think might last 4 or 5 years. Happy birthday! Yeah. Also, we had been planning we don't know if it'll happen now, but where we would go to dinner for your birthday. That was really my birthday present. I was like, I'll buy you dinner and a cake, and you went, okay, great. And I had a dream that we had decided where to go, and apparently did not remember that it had been a dream. So we were sitting at the table. I think it was after or around the same time. I was like, you'll just go buy yourself your own birthday present. It's the vape. Happy birthday. It's like, we're talking about where to go for dinner, and because my mom was going to be in town, I was making sure to let the sisters know that they were welcome to come. It wasn't just the 4 of us, whatever. And I said, oh yeah, we're going to Paisano's. It's this like Italian-ish kind of place that we found this really good food. And it was funny. I said it to you, and you looked at me in surprise and then gave me the thumbs up, which meant you agreed. But it was at that moment I went, oh, I dreamed you said that's where you wanted to go. And then my little submissive self tried to take it back and go, whoa, I'm not trying to dictate where you choose to go on your birthday for dinner. I guess I had a dream, but I thought that might be a place you'd like to go, but we don't have to go there. And you're like, no, thank you. That is the perfect place to go. And I was like, okay, but I've told you now in my most submissive way what to buy for your birthday and where you're going to eat. Happy birthday?
Well, actually... when you said that, I was like, yeah, I hadn't thought of that because I could not think of where I wanted to go eat for my birthday. And as soon as you said that, it was like my ears perked up and, spark in my eyes, like, yeah.
And I'm over here going, I feel awful. I have just dictated the terms of your birthday to you. And none of it's a surprise.
Well, you know what? You did a wonderful service for me because I didn't have to think about any of it.
However, we want to reframe that so we feel better about it. I don't care. I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
And Silent, yeah, we have several dozen vape shops around town
and
here.
Especially now that you can't get that stuff online.
Online, right.
Yeah. Which that's how you found. I'm kind of feeling bad for you because every vape thingy that you've purchased for yourself since I've known you, you do what you always do when you need to make a purchase. You go online and you look and you read reviews and you compare and you contrast and you do serious research. That is who you are. And 1, I love that about you, but 2, that's just part of the process.
Yeah.
And now you just got to raw dog it.
Yeah.
And go shopping with no clue and let a salesperson tell you about something and go, okay, or go, I guess I have to go to another store and look around. What?
Yeah. And I mean the maker of this, I have had several from them over the years, and I've been very...
Aspire is the brand for any other vapey people out there.
Yeah. And I've been very pleased with that. The coils last super long. The vape held up. The e-cig held up really well. And, I don't even know if anybody sells that brand locally.
I was kind of hoping that if you went into a shop, because it's a shop, and you're like, if they don't have it, you're like, I like Aspire, they could be like, I can order you one.
Yeah.
JB can talk about it better. Silent Winged asked, well, you can't get them online. There's something about new regulations here in the States.
New regulations here in the state that they changed. You cannot order...
Is it a Florida thing or a U.S. thing?
It's a U.S. thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't order supplies, juice,
USPS will not
ship. Thankfully, you're a
e-cig
chemist in our kitchen, and you know how to buy the raw materials.
Well,
Put some of it together.
to a certain extent, because once I run out of the nicotine that I stockpiled,
In this coming zombie apocalypse, we will have both coffee and nicotine. That seems about right. Yeah, you have to have nicotine. I don't care what. Y'all, the last time this man went with all of the nicotine gum patches and lozenges you can imagine, the last time this man had to go any amount of time without nicotine, I thought we were going to get divorced in an airport parking lot. We get off. It's when we went to London. We get off the plane. We're back home. We were back in the States. Yeah. And he was so cranky. I was in tears and trailing him with the rolly luggage. I was carrying a good 10 feet because he was so on edge and so done and so craving that hit from his vape that he wouldn't. We had gotten into some testy argument. I don't remember what it was about. It was something stupid because it always is. And he was so done. He just took off walking, and I trailed as best as I could because I didn't remember how to get out of the airport. But he wasn't looking at nobody. He wasn't talking to anybody. He was mad at me. I think I cracked a joke at the wrong time.
It was not a good look for me.
Oh, yeah. It was not his finest moment. We get to the car, and of course, we're parked way the fuck out there. We finally get to the car. He's slamming our luggage and he's slamming doors. I am tear stained and just staying very quiet and annoyed and so annoyed. He gets out of wherever you had it, puts your batteries back in your vape, then gets it all ready to go, juiced up, takes like 2 or 3 good hits off the damn thing. And I am now just done. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I feel better now. So, do you want to stop at Waffle House and get something to eat?" And I'm like, the only thing preventing me from calling you a motherfucking child of God right now is the fact that I'm your submissive partner. Because, outside of Power Exchange, I'd have told you to kiss my fucking ass. I didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Yeah,
it was not a joyful moment.
It was not a good
So no,
look for
when
me.
I thought your mouthpiece thingy on your vape could not be replaced, I was like, oh, I don't care where you have to go. You're gonna go find somebody who will sell you something. I don't want you to smoke a cigarette. I don't want you to get back into that habit. You've not done that for well over a decade now.
Yeah.
We were gonna get nicotine in you. No, I will not. I will not live that life.
Yeah.
Okay, that was like a rant I didn't know I needed to have. I feel better now.
I'm glad you. Excuse me. Yeah, glad you feel better. So.
Look, you are one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. You are genuinely one of the kindest people I know. You are a good man. I am so lucky to have you. And I, in the moment, hate it when you remind me that you have foibles and are an imperfect person. But in retrospect, I love going, you see this perfect specimen of a partner over here? Let me tell you how he fucks up sometimes. Because we all know I fuck up. We all know I'm imperfect. I just put that out there on the internet. I'm gonna wear it on my sleeve. But no, yeah. So, yeah.
Anywho, yeah, that was a hard-learned lesson, that trip. And never traveled without some nicotine lozenges after that.
Oh my God, the next flight we took after that, you popped them, I think like 1 an hour every hour. I don't even think you were supposed to take as many as you took when you were like...
No, it was not that much.
Y'all.
It was not.
Y'all.
Look, I still have that pack of lozenges. Probably need to toss them because they've expired, but they're still sitting in there. But yeah, so no.
So
Anyhow.
anyway, that was every bonus section is random, but that was
Yeah.
more random than usual.
Mm-hmm.
But now, we can be done now, so you can go hide on the couch and take another nap.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm
Thank you
ready.
for being here today.
I hope I contributed something worthwhile
I
other
think you
than
did.
just comic foil for your little.
I mean, you did that as well, but
Yeah,
yes, you
okay.
did. You did.
Okay.
Yeah. Links to pretty much everything we mentioned at the top of the show in the places. Definitely check out Two Hot Wives podcast. If you're for podcast listening folk. I hope they made me sound good in post-production and editing. Yeah, we also just yesterday we did an interview for another podcast. I don't know when that
Yeah.
one will be out, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over
That
the
was-
kinky
that was-
podcasting world.
That
one
was
interview
that was,
at a time.
That was a fun interview
That was.
yesterday.
That
Yeah.
was. I believe I heard the hosts say under their breath to themselves as we were talking, "Oh my God, they're so cute." I'm pretty sure I heard that. Anyway, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful being here with y'all.
Yes.
As far as we know, we'll be here next week. We think so, and
Yeah.
that's it for us. Thanks, y'all. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.